Thanks for stopping by, guys, and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic. Now today we're going to be looking at a new spaceship design using the Universal Flight Computer. Now this is kind of a bit of a different take on a cargo ship. The Able cargo ship was more of a personal vessel that could be used in a business role, but this is solely a high corporation's mule to move cargo. So this is the Alibi heavy cargo ship. It can hold up to 8 of these little containers, these little shipping crates. It does have some storage inside, however, the majority of the storage inside is for the crew and supplies. Now this is large enough to actually have multiple different rooms. It is imagined to be something that would be out in space for long periods of time. So, quickly walking around, you can see the containers that are stored underneath. And there are 2 ways up. There is a ramp and there's also a lift. For some reason, the ramp doesn't work quite right. The logic is perfect. It's the same logic that runs the lift over here. But for some reason, the game glitches out when you're using the ramp. So these both have the same controls. You have a switch that turns the system on and off because it is variable. Red resets the clock entirely. And you have down and up controls. That way you can move it wherever you need to. Now there are sensors that detect the ground, so you can't lower the ramp too far. As well as when you do lower the ship and it gets close to the ground, it'll automatically raise the ramps up to not hit the ground. And it's the same thing with the lift over there, which I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And that's mighty interesting. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So going up the ramp, you get into the main storage compartment. This is mostly for like the ship's maintenance. You have some containers over here, and this is where the crew would store their supplies, their food, and anything that just doesn't spoil would be put down here. Coming up, you come up to a bit more storage where you'd find some extra odds and ends. You got some bananas, some vegetables, and you're in kind of the main command section of the ship at the moment. Here you've got some extra seating just in case you have a few extra passengers for one reason or another. You've got a dashboard for all kinds of numbers. Nothing here really does much. It's mostly just for looks. And up front is your little command bay where you'd actually pilot the ship. This is your bridge mostly. Now we're going to be coming back up here in a second when we actually pilot the ship. But once again, all these switches are mostly decorative. So coming back, you have a nice long hallway, and through here you've got your kitchen. You got some lights and stuff in here as well. And going back past the kitchen, you've got your 3 crew quarters. Each one a little bit customized to whoever the crew may have been that was in this ship. But for the most part, they're just copy and pasted. And coming back, we have the kind of lounge area where the crew could take a bit of time and relax. So coming through here, you've got the actual bathroom, shower, and like I said, this is meant to be something that would be out in space for longer periods of time. That's why there's all these accommodations and stuff. You got a bit of shelving. You've kind of got the ship's repair manual, as I've kind of jokingly referred to it as this massive book. Down there is your engine bay and kind of your maintenance area. Got a nice couch, TV, some decorations, and you have a nice big table to either eat or play cards at. Do whatever you need to do. And coming down, you have the actual engine bay, and this is where the lift is as well. And here you can actually see the flight computer itself. If you really want to watch it function, you kind of have some room to walk around it. And this is the logic that controls the lift and the ramp. They use the same exact clock and they use the same exact logic, but for some reason the ramp doesn't work right and the lift works almost perfectly. That I don't really understand, but let's go ahead and use the lift. The lift has the same exact functions. You can reset the clock Turn the system on. You have up and down controls. Let's go ahead and go down. And this can also detect the ground and retract when need be. So that is the interior of the ship. Let's go ahead and get it ready and let's fly. Go ahead and just turn this off. It'll send us all the way back up. Head to the front where the actual bridge is. And now this uses the same controls all of my other universal computer flyers use. So 1 is down, 2 is up, 3 is the computer on and off, and after that you have WASD. Now this is a heavy beast, so going up is really slow. Let's see if we can get some altitude here. We are starting to raise ever so slightly. And let's go ahead and keep holding 2 and let's start moving. And we're starting to get some speed going up. I don't want to hit that tree. And let's go ahead and let go of 2 now that we've got a bit of altitude and we can fly around. Now I wouldn't recommend doing sharp corners with this. It can turn pretty well, but if you turn too fast, you can overwhelm the computer a little bit. It will kick back in and get you leveled out over time, but it's a bit worrying to me when you do really stupid sharp turns with this. And considering you are on a massive cargo vessel, hairpin turns I don't think would be the best idea either. Now as you can probably already see, there is a hatch to the roof if you do need to get in. For me, when I start this on a lift, I usually use the hatch on the top to get in, because when it's on the ground you can't access the lift or the ramp, and there's really no other way in unless you pick the whole craft up. So let's go ahead and get this hovering in place, and we're stopped. The flight computer is doing its job and we can walk around freely throughout the entire ship. I'm really happy with how well this hovers. Like, let's see if you can see any of the rock. There's a little bit of rock, but not much at all. It's really hard to tell. Let's go ahead and come back. Actually, let's go ahead and go down here and drop one of the lifts. I don't trust the ramp. I'm gonna actually use the cargo, or the little lift. It's not a cargo lift, it's just a lift. Not big enough to really hold cargo. Turn the system on, lower. There we go, we're at max. Yeah, this is not something I would try on most flyers, but considering I know how stable this thing hovers, even though this lift itself is jittering because of how it works, I feel safe here. I don't feel like I'm just going to get thrown off randomly. And I love that. So let's go ahead and go back in the ship. Let's land it. And then I want to talk about how you'd get this set up to fly once you take it off your lift, because there is a bit of a takeoff procedure that you kind of do need to do. It's not major, it's just it takes a bit longer than you'd expect to get up and off the ground. Let's go ahead and see if we can land it. Let's go ahead and start hitting 1. I am going to have to be careful not to hold 1 for too long because, like I said, this is a heavy beast and we can come plummeting to the ground rather quickly. I'm going to aim for the edge of the map. Okay, forget I said that. We're coming crashing down because I held 1 for too long. Alright, let's just go ahead and kill the system and let's head out the top hatch. So the switch is right here. And it's jammed because thank you, scrap mechanic physics. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this on a lift and I'll show you how to get it ready and up in the air. Now, I would recommend having as flat an area as possible. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but the flatter the better. And when I take it off the lift, I like to just use this to go up. It is going to lag quite a bit because this is a big creation. It does have little stilts that it stands on, but it's still not enough to keep it from lagging. And we're at the back of the ship. There's my little hatch. Like this. Down, flick. Get in the seat. Press 3. Now, the engines have a startup procedure themselves. They go to a 45-degree angle. I would wait until they get to that point. Then the computer will kick in, telling the thrusters how to elevate for actually getting a level flight, and then you can start to control it. You can start pressing buttons now. It'll still probably lift off, but you might have a bit of an issue at some point during the process. So that's why I just let the computer do its thing. Once the computer's done, then you can start controlling. And the front thrusters are finished. The back ones I think are still going, but we can go ahead and start holding 2. Like I said before, this is a big, heavy beast, and it's going to take us a minute to get it up off the ground. Looks like the back end's starting to raise a little bit. We should level out here shortly. And then after that, we should start picking off the ground. I see movement, but we're not lifting. And there we go. Now, I wouldn't recommend actually landing the ship at any point. I always use the lift and the ramp to get up and down from the ship, just because when you actually have this touching the ground, the frame rate dies quite quickly. Because right now I'm hitting at 48 frames. However, when this is touching the ground, I can hit 10 or 12. Just because of the size and complexity of this ship. Go ahead and get closer to the ground so we can use our lifts and stuff. We have to also be careful not to hold 1 for too long, or we'll come plummeting down like we did before. I think right about there is fine. I'll let the computer do the rest. Head downstairs. Turn on the ramp. Lower it. And there we go. That is the Alibi heavy cargo ship. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I have had some people say they don't like the blocky nature of the ship. And my response is it's a cargo ship that a company would have bought for practical use, not really to look nice. But overall, I'm happy with how it looks, how it works. All the rooms inside add that little bit of detail that the Able didn't really have, in my opinion. So I am going to end this episode here. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoy the channel, enjoy what I'm doing, please subscribe. It helps out a lot. And right now, shares help the channel the most. So if you do want to help out the channel, please share this episode with a friend. But I'm going to end it here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. And until next time, peace.